welcome back to the channel. My name is Anthony, and this is FPV Builds and Tech. And that tech part of it is something that we're going to do some more of. I know a lot of the channel has been focused on FPV and airplanes, but I am also a huge tech geek, and I am a cybersecurity nerd, and I love everything that is tech, 3D printing, and RC airplanes, and that's what this channel is going to focus on. So today, we are doing a best keyboard under $100 that you can find on Amazon Video. And how this keyboard came about was actually my keyboard that I bought a year or two ago, which was an HP mechanical keyboard, ended up dying. And it's heartbreaking because I jumped through a bunch of hoops to find a keyboard I actually like. For me, I feel like keyboards are a very personal thing, and the way it feels, how rigid it is, the clickiness of the keys, there's so many things that make a keyboard feel special to you, right? And for all those reasons, I loved that HP keyboard, and I'm going to show you guys the office area and that keyboard. But that keyboard was great. And one of the other features that keyboard had that none of these keyboards have in front of me was a headphone jack that did headphone. It had a bypass for headphone and microphone. And the way my desktop PC is set up, my jacks are on the back of my computer. So it's kind of a pain to either get an extension or run a cable long enough to the back of the jacks to plug into my headphones so I can game with the mic and a headphone. So none of these keyboards have a headphone input. All of these keyboards here are under $100. They can all be found on Amazon pretty easily. So what's going on with my keyboard now is, and I checked the switches. It's not the switches because I swapped them out. It's got red mechanical switches on it. The keys aren't registering on a couple of the letters, and it started at one key and then just kept going. I didn't spill anything or anything on it like that, but just leads me to believe that something is failing internally inside the keyboard. The keyboard I bought from HP is discontinued, so I can't buy it anymore, which leads me to this. So I wanted to do a mix of keyboards that you can get for $100 and down, and from different manufacturers. I also looked at what keyboards were popular that a lot of people bought. And that's how we arrived to these keyboards here. So, as you see, we have all different kinds of keyboards from different manufacturers, all different colors. Now, I've spent about a week and a half, and we bought all these keyboards. This is not a sponsored video, so you're going to get real feedback from me. I've spent about a week going over and using each one of these keyboards for various different duties. For typing, video editing, all kinds of different stuff. Gaming. So you're going to get my real feedback. We'll show you, we're gonna darken this room. We'll show you what each keyboard looks lit up. We'll also put the mic next to the keyboard so you can kind of, for yourself, see what the keyboard sounds like, although it's probably not going to translate through pretty well to the video. And then we'll check the rigidity of the keyboard, stuff like that, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll go through each keyboard. I'm going to explain to you what the keyboard is, how much the keyboard was. I'll do a screenshot of Amazon for how much the keyboard was, what switches it has, and then we'll do a light test and sound test and everything else. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, follow, do all of that great YouTube stuff, because we did buy all of these keyboards out of our pocket. And yeah. All right, everybody. So let's get into the ultimate keyboard test for keyboards under $100 that can be found on Amazon.com. Now, that's a pretty long title, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, let's get into it. So before we get into showing you the individual keyboards, I just want to show you my keyboard real quick that I'm replacing, why I love it so much, and we'll go from there. All right, so let's take a walk over to the FPV Builds and Tech office area. And this is my HP keyboard. It's a full metal body. It's got decent RGB. It has a headphone jack on the side here, which is awesome. And I've really liked this keyboard. It does a whole bunch of different RGB settings. It's got really nice red mechanical switches. It comes with the wrist rest, and it'll unclip if you want it to. So yeah, it's a really, really nice keyboard. So as you can see, we'll change that again. It's got the right amount of clickiness, not too clicky, not too soft, and it's heavy. It's like a brick. So kind of sad. I paid $50 for this keyboard from Micro Center almost 2 years ago. I really, really enjoy it. I can't find it anywhere else. So yeah. So then this is the keyboard I use for my work computer. This is for daily driving. It is a Logitech G Series. Only problem with this, don't like gaming on it. It is a mechanical membrane keyboard. Other than that, it's got different color settings. It'll do the full spectrum like most keyboards. And I think this keyboard is in the $50 to $60 range. Great keyboard for doing work stuff and typing. It's just I'm not a membrane keyboard guy for gaming. I can't do it. Yeah. So let's go back to the filming area and let's get started on individually testing each one of these keyboards. All right. All right. So this is what we have for the keyboards right here. And we'll start from the front and go from the left side to the right side. So this is a new brand. I'm very surprised by these. You're going to be surprised by them too. It's called Mage G or Mod G. That's both these two keyboards here. Then we have a Red Dragon and a Corsair. Then we have the Havit, which is a popular keyboard on Amazon. Then we have another Red Dragon. We have, I think that's a Titan keyboard. So we have a Titan. Then we have the Royal KLUDGE, which is another popular keyboard on Amazon. And then we have the HyperX. And then I came across these two keyboards because I was like, you know, if the rest of my keyboard kind of works and if I hit the button a bunch of times and I get the key to show up, I really need it for gaming because the W key is what's really failing on my keyboard, and that seems to be the problem. Well, then maybe I just use one of these little half keyboards. And I got to tell you, for the price, this is also from the company Meiji. This is, both of them are under $20, these two half keyboards. And they do have RGB. And if you just needed a keyboard to plug into a laptop just to do some gaming, I would say for under $20, I mean, you couldn't buy an Xbox controller for that. It's a pretty good buy. So there you go. These are the contenders. So we're going to clear this out. We're going to reset. We're going to hook up these to my laptop. I'm going to darken the room, and you get to see how bright the LED is, what the keyboards sound like, and everything else. All right. So the first contender up is the Magi Mechanical Gaming Keyboard. It's a 100% keyboard. It is called the Mechanical Storm, currently on Amazon for $26.99. I gotta say, you're going to be surprised by this keyboard, and I think it's a pretty good keyboard, so I'm not going to, I guess I'm going to spoil it, but yeah, it's the white one. There's different colors of this one. You can get black, pink. The black one goes up in price, but for this test, we did the white one, and it's $26.99. The Magi MK Storm. This is the white keyboard, and you can see how bright it is. It does have a good amount of black backlighting. I really like the lighting on this keyboard. It's not RGB. It just has white backlighting on it, but it's got backlighting under the keys, and you can see the glow around the keys, and then the keys are lit up themselves. It does have multiple modes that it does. There's a whole bunch of them. And it'll light up the WASD and the arrows. So it does do a bunch of different settings. So I really like the way this keyboard feels as well. It doesn't feel like an under 30, a sub 30 or $40 keyboard. It has a really good feel, and it's got a good feel for typing. So pop into Word real quick, and I'll give you some typing. It also has a satisfying click. Some of the other keyboards that I've tested, and we'll test now, have a like a springy twang to them. This keyboard has a nice, like, straightforward, non-twangy click. And I'll do an example so you can hear it here. Very satisfying feeling keyboard. Then the last part of it is it's a very solid keyboard. I'm trying to twist it right now, and it doesn't twist a lot. Um, and you'll see that this is an issue with some of the other keyboards where they actually have a lot of twist to them. So for me, I really like this keyboard. I think it's a good deal. It's nice and solid. The keys are really nice on it. Um, it's got a nice, satisfying tactile switch. These are all mechanical keys. It comes with spare keys and also a key puller. Yeah, I like this keyboard a lot, especially for under $30. Let's get to the next keyboard. So next up is the Magi 75% mechanical gaming keyboard. This is the blue and gray keyboard. Price on this keyboard is $26.99. Now, what I don't like about this keyboard is it's not 100%. I like a number pad on my keyboard. This keyboard does come with extra switches, as does the other one, and it comes with a key puller as well. So for $26.99, it is a pretty good value keyboard. Now, one of the issues I did have with this keyboard is a couple of the key pads weren't working right off the bat. Number 2 wasn't working, and I think the P or the O wasn't working. So this keyboard is $29.99 on Amazon. Okay, so the next keyboard up is the second Magi. This is a gray and black keyboard, and right off the bat, you can tell the lighting on this, and this is on full blast lighting right here. Right away, you can tell the lighting isn't as bright as the other keyboard. Now, it does have a little bit of a soft glow under the keys, and you can kind of see that there, but it's just not as bright or defined, and some people might like that. This also is not an RGB keyboard. It doesn't do the RGB colors. Okay. It's just white again. And it does do different modes. So, let's see here. There we go. The WASD will light up on that side. That will light up on that side. The lighting is just so dim on this that it's kind of hard to see. And I'm trying to get back to the main lighting mode now. And this was the issue that I had with this keyboard before too. Also, I find the legs close pretty easily on this keyboard, which is what just happened. One thing about this keyboard I did like, it's got 2 sizes of legs that fold into each other. This isn't a bad keyboard for the price. For a sub $40 keyboard, it is a nice, solid feeling keyboard. I will say that. And it has the same switches that are in the other keyboard. Now, the problem that I found with this keyboard is I had the same issue as my keyboard that I'm getting rid of with the keys not working. So two of the keys on this keyboard currently don't work, but we'll give you some key sound on this one as well. It's not as nice sounding as the white one, and it doesn't feel as good, and it does have a little bit of a twang to it if you can listen closely. These are different modes on this. It doesn't do a lot of different modes, this keyboard. My thing is, for the price of this one, and it'll do that mode where the keys light up as you touch them. My thing is, for the price of this keyboard, why would you buy this keyboard and not buy the white one? You can hear the twang on the space button. Other than the quality issue, I am a big number pad guy. I use it a lot, and this keyboard not having a number pad is kind of a letdown for me. So if I had to choose between this Magi and the other Magi, I would definitely go with the other one. Okay, so next up is the Red Dragon K582 Sorara. This keyboard is currently on Amazon for $44.99. It is a popular keyboard. It has over 4,700 reviews. Let's check out this keyboard and see what it's got for us. Currently on Amazon for $44.99. Yeah, let's go to the testing. I'll give you my opinion there. Okay, so next keyboard up is the Red Dragon Sorara. Give you a good look at what the keys look like. This has a bunch of different modes. Now, these keyboards have become very popular over the past couple of years. There's a lot of them on Amazon, and a lot of people have purchased them. So we'll just do a quick typing test. And this keyboard has that twanging that I was talking about. Like all of the keys, when you press the keys, they have like a spring sound. I could almost play Jingle Bells on this. So the keys aren't underlit like the other keyboard. The keycaps themselves are lit. That's where the LED is. Let me see if I can. Oh, sorry. Let me see if I can get this to change. Let me see. I forgot. Each one of these keyboards has. There we go. That's how you do the different colors. This is a full RGB keyboard. Right now, the brightness is set to 100%. I don't know how well you can see that. It's not the brightest keyboard in the world. It's got a considerable amount of color. It's full RGB across. So my other keyboard, it had areas of RGB, and I'll show you that keyboard last, just to show you a comparison of what I was dealing with that. But yeah, let me go here, and I know there's a way to switch the modes. Okay, so like the rest of the keyboards, this will do different modes. So it'll do all kinds of different light modes, which are pretty cool. I'm just not a fan of the twanging sound on this keyboard. The lighting's not bad. It feels like a pretty solid keyboard as well. It has it's a plastic body, but it's a nice solid plastic body, and it doesn't have a lot of flex. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that springy twang sound, so I would pass on this keyboard because of the sound of the keys. Not a bad keyboard though, and lighting effects are pretty good on it. Let's get to that next keyboard. Next up is the Corsair K70 Core RGB mechanical gaming keyboard with palm rest. Two things about this keyboard. A, it's one of the more expensive keyboards of the group. It's not an aluminum body, it's plastic, and it didn't come with the armrest, which is very interesting. So for all of those facts, I actually placed this keyboard because it is one of the more expensive keyboards of the group down at the bottom of the pile. I'm not really thrilled with this keyboard. I gotta say, I don't really recommend it for the price. There are other keyboards that are much better, and I think you're just paying for the Corsair brand on this. All right, so next up we have the Corsair K70 Core, I believe it's called. Yeah, K70 Core. I was a little disappointed at first with this keyboard. It's a plastic body. It's got a little bit of flex to it. For some reason, mine didn't come with the wrist rest. It has decent lighting. Now, as far as price goes, this is one of the more expensive keyboards. I believe this is $79.99, and the HyperX was $89.99. So yeah, it's up there in price. It does have a nice little volume wheel over here, and you can use that to control the volume, and if you press down on it, it'll actually shut the volume off. So that's not a bad function. The lighting on it is pretty good. It's got some decent backlighting and key lighting. It's easier than a lot of the other keyboards to change the lighting function. So all you have to do is click the function button, and then the top row will light up for you, and it'll give you whatever mode you want. And it's full RGB. And it does have some really nice colors. I will give them that. The colors on it are very nice. And you can go through all of the modes, going all the way down to 0, which is a solid mode. Now, if you hit 0 a bunch of times while you're hitting the function button, it'll let you cycle through the solid colors. Now, the keys on this are not bad, and maybe I was a little unfair to this keyboard up front. After I've played with it for a little bit more, I understand why it's a little bit more higher priced than the other keyboards. I still don't believe it's as good as the HyperX, but, you know, for what it is, it's not a bad keyboard. The keyboards have more of a thock feeling, and it does have a nice thock sound if you're into the thock sound. I'm into more of the clicky switch sound. And I found that the keys in the middle have a little bit more of a spring sound to them. overall, for this contest, it would be the second runner-up to the higher-end keyboard, and overall, it would be the third runner-up for keyboards under $100. I don't think it's a bad keyboard, and I think I was a little unfair to it in the beginning. And yeah, you know, if I had to choose between this and the HyperX, obviously I'm going to spend the extra money and get the HyperX. It is a nicer keyboard. It's aluminum. It feels more solid, but this is not a bad keyboard, and it does have a good feel to it. Which, you know, you would expect that from a name brand like Corsair, because when you're buying this keyboard, you're not just paying for the keyboard. You're paying for that Corsair price, that name brand price. So that's one thing to take into consideration. And it does deliver on that. And there are more expensive keyboards. You can go up in the $250 range on a Corsair keyboard, or even a HyperX keyboard can go to $200. So for a mid-range $70 to $80 keyboard, it's not a bad keyboard. So, all right, let's go to the next keyboard. Okay, so next up is the HyperX Alloy Elite 2. I have a lot of good things to say about this keyboard. It is the most expensive keyboard out of this test group, I will say that. But as you'll see in the testing, there's a pretty good reason for it. If you have the money and you're going to buy one of these keyboards, I'd say this would be my choice. But let's see what the testing shows. All right, everybody, so here we have the HyperX. This is the HyperX Elite 2. As you can tell, this keyboard is a lot brighter than all of the other keyboards, okay? It's amazing how much brighter it is. And part of the reason it's so much brighter is because the keys are half translucent, so that really lets the light come through. And I'm a fan of LED lighting, especially in our area where we do the filming and the gaming and everything. When I want to play games with my son, we get glare from the regular lights on the TV. We turn the LEDs on, and this keyboard just lights up the desk. I got to play with this keyboard for about a week. Absolutely loved the way it felt. The keyboard itself, the frame, is made out of an aluminum. It's a nice thick aluminum. There's no flex whatsoever. It's a very solid keyboard, right? So up here we have the light controls. This controls the light. This controls the mode. And then this G button right here, that controls you being able to hit that and lock out the tab button, the Windows button, so you don't hit any of those buttons while you're gaming. The switches feel really good on this. I'll give you a little bit of a listen to what the switches sound like. I'm not a huge fan of the space key, but the keys also have like this soft feeling on the top of them. It's just a really quality keyboard. And it's the most expensive keyboard out of the group at almost $100, but you're getting what you pay for at almost $100. Now, the one thing that this keyboard has that there's two considerations that you think about. It does have the volume controls and stuff over here. It's got a thumb wheel for controlling the volume. It's got forward and back buttons. I really wish they had a 3.5 headphone jack. It does have a USB jack, though, so that allows you to plug in USB headphones and use it as pass-through. Hands down, I think if you have the money to spend and you're going to buy a keyboard that's under $100, this is the keyboard to get, hands down. It's the fit and finish is gorgeous. The feel of the keys are gorgeous. It's got a nice tactile click to it. It's just a really, really nice keyboard. So this, for me, is the winner, hands down, of the top keyboards under 100. Yeah. So let's do the next keyboard, and we'll go from there. Next up is the Royal KLUDGE RK98 Mechanical Gaming Keyboard. This is a pretty nice keyboard. It is also one of the most expensive keyboards out of the group. It is wireless, and it is also a rechargeable keyboard. Let's see what the testing has to show on this one. I do like that even though it is a smaller form factor keyboard, it does have the number pad. Okay, so the next keyboard up is the Royal KLUDGE. Now, this is a wireless USB keyboard. Okay, it is definitely not the brightest keyboard. One of the things I don't like about this keyboard, as you can see, is there is no lighting through the keys themselves. So the lighting is just literally backlit behind the keys. Let me get this back to normal. There we go. So the lighting doesn't do the keycaps themselves. It only does, like the letters aren't lit up. It only does backlighting, which I don't know. I'm not really thrilled about that. The other thing I'm not a huge fan of with this keyboard is it's not the brightest keyboard of the group. It does have a nice small form factor, and it does give you a number pad for that as well. And the other thing is it does have a bunch of USB, and a USB-C port on it. It's a rechargeable keyboard. I'm not too thrilled about that. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's got a lot of popularity on Amazon. It's definitely a solid platform. There's no flex on this keyboard whatsoever. If I was gonna, make this keyboard, I would change a couple things. I would definitely have lighting come through the keycaps. I probably would make a wired and unwired version. I don't know if they do. This is the only one that I saw that came up, but it is a nice solid keyboard, and we'll do a typing test. I almost feel like the keys feel mushy to me. You definitely don't get a satisfying click with these. Sorry, I had a technical issue. Okay, so it has a. I hate the space button with a passion. That drives me nuts. And there's no, it's like mushy. There's nothing to it. Like all of the keys, there's no like click or feedback. It's just mushy. It almost feels like a membrane keyboard, but it's not. It's a full mechanical keyboard. They give you keycaps and everything with it. And this is one of the more expensive keyboards too. I know a lot of it comes down to personal preference, but it has that twang, springy sound to it. I don't know. I'm not thrilled with it. It's my personal opinion. I don't really like it. I could see it having benefits that people would like. It does have a nice solid form factor. It is wireless. It is rechargeable. So there are some benefits to it. I just don't know that it's worth the price. So, all right, that's the Royal KLUDGE. Let's go on to the next keyboard, and I'll give you another shot of the lighting. There you go. That's basically what it looks like. It's really not that bright. Yeah. And you can see when it's laying flat, you don't really see it at all. All right, let's go on to the next keyboard. Next up is the Red Dragon Sindri, the mechanical gaming keyboard. This is a $34.99 keyboard. It's a popular keyboard. There's a lot of reviews and a lot of purchases of this keyboard. Similar to the other Red Dragon, I just wanted to have more than one Red Dragon. They have become a popular brand over the last couple of years, so I wanted to give you multiple examples of them. See how it does in the testing. Okay, so next keyboard we have up is the Red Dragon Sindri. So I understand that this is one of the cheaper keyboards, right? It's not an expensive keyboard. They've sold a lot of these. Um, right off the bat, it's full plastic. It's got a lot of flex to it. Like if I go to bend it, it bends. You can see the twist. It twists no problem. Like if I wanted to snap this thing, I could. It's pretty light. Second thing is, like my keyboard, which I don't really have a problem with, it's got fixed channel RGB. So these are the colors that you're going to get in all the different modes. It's always going to be yellow here, green there, white there, blue there, purple there, red there. That's always going to be like that. There's no mode to change that. As far as brightness goes, this is as bright as it gets. It's okay. It's not the best. It's all right. Um, yeah, I mean, it's all the way at its brightest setting right now. And the keycaps, I believe they're red or brown mechanical switches. I will show you what they sound like really quickly. So it's got like that same springy twang sound. And then the space-board just drives me crazy. See, I play on a keyboard. I'm a keyboard gamer, so I play Fortnite and other games like that on a keyboard. And I need to feel the spacebar. I need to have feedback with it. I guess if you were looking for a cheap keyboard, and you just wanted to get something, it wouldn't be a bad keyboard. Although there are other options. You know, for the price that you're going to spend on this, you could get that white Magi, and that's kind of the purpose of this test, right? Is all right. There's a bunch of $30 to $40 keyboards. Which one really is the best? And on a true apples to apples comparison, the Magi just feels so much more solid. The keys are so much better. The comfort is just there. It's just an all around better keyboard for the price. So let's go on to the next keyboard. Next up is the Ryzo 5 mechanical gaming keyboard. This keyboard is the one that I said was the Titan before. Yeah, I got that wrong. This is the Ryzo 5. So this is a $29.99, $29 keyboard, $30 keyboard. And you get what you pay for. So let's see how it compares in the testing to the other keyboards. Okay, so up next is the Ryzo 5. Ryzo 5. I called it the Titan earlier because it's got a big T on it, which I don't know. Their name is Ryzo 5, but they have a T as an emblem. It's very confusing. Very similar to the Red Dragon, almost a Red Dragon knockoff. One thing is the letters on the keys are a lot bigger and more profound, as is the LED coming through the letter on the keys. Same thing, you know, as you can do different modes with the lighting, these are going to be what they are. It's always going to be red here, orange there, green there, blue there, purple there. So you're not going to change that. So it's fixed RGB across the keyboard. This keyboard is super flimsy feeling, very flexible, full plastic. It's got little standoff legs in the back to make it higher, but they really aren't doing much. It almost feels like it's flat. So, I don't know. I don't like knocking companies, and you know they're trying to make a profit and make a product and make a living. But for the price you're going to spend on this keyboard, there are better keyboards. Just know that, and it comes down to really preference. Or if one of your friends has these and you think it's great, you really want to get one. I really don't see any other reason to get this keyboard over other keyboards. So let's just do a quick typing test on it. Now the keys are satisfying. And they do have some springiness to them, but they have springiness with a clicky. So it's like a combination of the Magi and the Red Dragon keyboard switch. Spacebars, see, you can hear the click on the spacebar, so that's better than the Red Dragon. But you can hear the hollow thing right there. So, like I was saying, it's got a nice feel to the keyboard. I would probably buy this over a Red Dragon. So, I would probably buy this over the Red Dragon. The keys definitely feel better, but the overall feel of the keyboard is just cheaper. But you know, the more I'm testing it, and I did spend some time with this keyboard, the more I'm testing it, it does feel pretty good. Feels better than the Red Dragon does. So if you had to choose over this and the Red Dragon Sindri, I'd probably choose this. They're both comparable. They're both not great keyboards, but they'll get the job done. This does have a little bit better lighting too, so that'll get the nod for the lighting. It's a little bit brighter, and like I said, the keys are a little bit more profound, so you get a little bit more light coming through though. All right, that's it on the Ryzo 5. Let's get to the next one. Next up is the MAG-G one-handed professional gaming keyboard. RGB backlit. This is a one-handed keyboard, and it is $19.99. Now, I was able to play a couple of games and a couple of Fortnite matches with this keyboard. A couple things I didn't like was the WASD switches have a texture on them. I understand why they did it, while I'm not too thrilled about it. The other thing I wasn't a huge fan on this keyboard was the space button, the position of the space button. It's kind of off to the side a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. But it's under $20 and it has mechanical gaming switches, so there's that. All right, let's check it out in the testing. Okay, so up next we have the MAG-G one-handed keyboard for gaming or whatever. It's mostly used for gaming. Pretty cool little keyboard, $20. It does do a bunch of different light features, which I will show you really quickly. Kind of hard to do on a one-handed one, but here you go. Here we go. The keys light up. It's got a whole bunch of different light modes. I'm very surprised by how many light modes it has because it is a $20 keyboard, and it's pretty cool. So I'm very surprised at how many light modes it has. So then also, the keys, like I said, the WASD key on this have a textured feeling. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not expecting much from the keys on this. And I'm not a huge fan of how they have... I'm not a huge fan of how they have the space button off this side, and also the space button isn't lit up. These are mechanical switches. They're red mechanical switches, and they do give you an extra switch. So that's a plus. But yeah, for $20, there's not much you can say. If you need just a keyboard to game on a laptop or something, I would say this would probably be the way to go. And also, this wrist rest here is actually, it's kind of got like a rubber top layer to it, so it's kind of comfortable. So now, out of the two one-handed keyboards I picked up, I will show you the other one, and it's like Blue Finger or something like that. And I actually prefer this one a little bit more. Okay, so next up we have a keyboard, one-hand RGB gaming keyboard by Blue Finger is the name of the company. Never heard of the company before. I just wanted to get another one-handed mechanical keyboard to compare to the Magi, and I will say, out of the two one-handed mechanical keyboards, this one was my favorite, and it's a couple dollars cheaper than the Magi. So, not a bad little one-handed keyboard. I don't know what the longevity of it is going to be, but it also does have mechanical keys. I actually prefer this one a little bit more. It's got more of a neutrally located space button. This one also has lighting. So there you go. Show you what that looks like. Now with this one, the lighting functions, it doesn't have as many. It's either off or on. But the way this has a nice curve to it right here, I do like the way that feels. It does have a nice feel to it. Now, I'm not expecting much in the way of the keys on this. This is a mechanical keyboard as well. But I'm not expecting much for the keys on this. It's basically a $20, it's actually $18, and it's mainly used for gaming on a computer or a keyboard or a laptop. For what it is, I think it's great. I don't think you could buy a regular controller for that much. So, I mean, if you got a year out of it, it's good enough for me. And it's made by a company called Bluefinger. So, I would get this, I believe, from my personal opinion, over the Magi, just because of where the space button is. If you're used to playing keyboard games, the space button is more centrally located than the other one. So, yeah. All right, so that brings us to our last keyboard. So let's get to that. And last but not least, we have the Havit mechanical keyboard. The Havit comes in at $42.99. This has been a very, very popular keyboard. On Amazon alone, under this one listing, it has almost 4,000 reviews or 4,000 ratings. This keyboard's been featured on Linus Tech Tips. For $43, it is definitely a popular keyboard, and you know it's not a bad keyboard. So we'll see how it compares to the other keyboards in this price range, and we'll go from there. All right, let's check it out in the test. All right, so last but not least is the Havit, which is, I think it's a $40 or $45 keyboard on Amazon. Now, the biggest letdown for this keyboard, and I don't know why, and I had to double check the owner instructions, but the only area of this keyboard that is backlit, I'll move it over this way, is the numlock section, the number section on the keypad. That's the only area that is backlit. I don't know why they did that. Why would you only make this part of the keyboard the only part of the keyboard that has LED lights on it? It makes no sense. And you can shut that off with the caps. So that and the caps is the only area. So let me see here. So yeah, reading the instruction, it says for this keyboard, only the number pad, caps lock key, and numlock key have backlit. You can use their backlit to know which state the keys are in. Caps lock to turn on or off, that's when the backlit is on. And function numlock will give you whether or not, and there you go. So that is it. Why? Why not just put lighting across the whole keyboard? You don't even have to do RGB. You could just do lighting. So for that reason and that reason alone, this keyboard is not a contender for me. A lot of people seem to like this keyboard. The keys feel all right. It doesn't have that tactile switch that I like, that tactile click that I like, but it does have more of a thock sound. So I'll let you listen to that. I'll actually type something. I can see the appeal. It does have FOC. It does have a springy sound to it too. It is a nice solid keyboard, I'll give it that. There isn't a lot of flex to it. But it also has the keys in the middle of the keyboard have a springy sound. I don't know if the mic's going to pick it up or not. There's definitely a different tone from the keys in the middle of the keyboard to the outside of the keyboard. Yeah, so that's the have it. I don't know if you need to have it or not. I don't need to have it, that's for sure. So I'm gonna pass on that. And yeah, that's it. That's all of the keyboards. You have my recommendation. If you're looking for a really good cheap keyboard, my recommendation, and this video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, would be the Magi, the MK Storm. That is a great keyboard, and you can get different options under $40. On the higher end, there's no question in my mind that the HyperX is the keyboard. That Elite 2 is so nice. And then I guess third runner up would be the Corsair. The Corsair was a little bit of a letdown for the price, but overall, it's not a bad keyboard. And then if you really needed to go super cheap and you didn't have the money in the budget, the Rizofy, the keys were a little bit better than the Red Dragon. The body of it felt a little bit looser, so that's what I would pick for that. So that's it. We'll do a quick wrap up on our choices here, and I want to thank everybody for spending the time to watch. And please like, comment if you want me to do more stuff like this. I will go out of my way to do more tech stuff and reviews for everybody and do an honest review. All right, let's get to that wrap up. All right, so I've showed you all the pricing. We've gone through the testing. And obviously, this is just my opinion, and you can make your own opinion on which keyboard is right for you. I don't suggest going out and buying 10 plus keyboards to figure out which one's a good fit for you. If you're able to go to a store that you can actually test on them or read reviews, that's probably a better way to do it. But I'm a little eccentric at times, not going to lie. Obviously, by now, you know, even though it is more than the other keyboards, my price is absolutely, my choice is absolutely the HyperX. It's a metal frame. The keys light up so much brighter than everything else. I really like this keyboard. Now, the only downside that I will have to figure out now is the fact that it doesn't have a headphone jack for my headphone. But yeah, HyperX, hands down, even when compared to the Corsair, which is disappointing for the price compared to the other keyboards, hands down, my favorite keyboard. Now, surprising, the next runner-up for me would be the White Magi. This is a great keyboard for the price. For under $40, I actually think it's under $30. The switches feel great. The backlighting is amazing. It's not a metal frame keyboard, but it's a very solid plastic keyboard, and it doesn't have a lot of flex. So if you're not looking to spend almost $100 on a keyboard like the HyperX, then next runner-up would definitely be this keyboard. I am a huge, huge fan of this keyboard. So Magi, maybe they're a company to look for. I did read some of the reviews, and there was some issues, quality control issues with some of the keyboards, and we did see that with this Magi here, where the keys don't work, or a couple of the keys don't work. So, buyer beware. Although if you buy it through Amazon and it doesn't work, you could always return it. But yeah, I would definitely look out for this brand, because this keyboard, for the price, would be my second runner-up, and it is very impressive. All right, everybody. I really appreciate you watching. We're going to be doing more tech stuff. We're going to be doing more stuff with 3D printing. We have some Raspberry Pi and Arduino projects coming out. I'm building a CyberDeck, an all-in-one CyberDeck computer based off of a Raspberry Pi that I can use for drones and 3D printing. That's going to be a very fun project. Um, there's a lot of good things and cool things coming out. So please like, follow, subscribe, and do all of that great YouTube stuff. But more importantly, thank you for following. Thank you for watching. Thank you for giving me the time to entertain you. All right, everybody. Thank you.